Earlier this year, I reviewed the SKR Mini E3 version 1.2 from BigTreeTech. This was an awesome drop-in 32-bit board for your Creality 3D printer. With this board, it would up you to Marlin 2.0, give you TMC 2209 silent stepper motor drivers, and add a wide range of other features. For its price and the features that it gave you, to me it was really a no-brainer and became one of my favorite upgrades for the Creality Ender 3. If you haven't seen a video on that, I will place links down below in the description where you can check that out. Fast forward a few months and BigTreeTech recently released a new line of screens, the TFT50, TFT50, and TFT70, with the main difference amongst the three being the screen size, with the TFT43 being the smallest at 4.3 inches and the TFT70 being the largest with a massive 7-inch screen. So when BigTree reached out to me and said if I would be interested in testing out the TFT50, I said absolutely. Almost everything on my Creality Ender 3 is upgraded with the exception of the LCD screen. And I've talked about how much I love good LCD screen or good touchscreen LCD screens for 3D printers on my channel, and the idea of having that on my Ender 3 as well was incredibly exciting. Well, after doing quite a bit of research on this screen as well as receiving it, I learned that it's actually much more than just a screen replacement, and it actually adds quite a lot of features to your 3D printer. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the screen, talk about its various features, install it into the Ender 3, and of course take a look through the whole menu system. I hope you guys are super pumped for this video. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So in this video, we are going to focus on the TFT50 because that is the version that I was sent and the version that I tested out. With that being said, the TFT43 and the TFT70 are going to be nearly identical, with again, the main difference between these three screens just being their footprint. So at its core, the TFT50 version 3.0 can be used as just a bigger screen for the menu that you already have. So if you just plug it into your printer, it'll look exactly like your existing menu, but just be in a larger screen that's easier to navigate. If that's all you want, there is nothing wrong with that. However, with that being said, the power behind this screen and all of its features and functionality really is going to require you to have a compatible board. For example, the BigTreeTech SKR Mini E3 version 1.2 that I previously mentioned. There's also quite a few other boards that are going to be compatible. I believe even the Ramps Arduino type board is going to be compatible, but basically you're going to need a header that you can plug the secondary plug into, and on the E3 version 1.2 that I've got, the TFT port or the TFT header on the board is what we're going to be plugging this board into. On the back of the screen, there is a ton of ports and options for expanding your 3D printer. For input, the Creality Ender 3 normally has a micro SD card. Well, with this screen attached, you now also have the ability to use a full-size SD card or a full-size USB flash drive, which is awesome because no matter what kind of memory you've got, you can plug it into the screen and you can print directly from it. And personally, I am not a fan of the micro SD card. I'd much rather use a full-size flash drive or SD card. So that in itself is a pretty awesome feature and functionality upgrade that this screen does provide you with. So additionally, there is a port on the back where you can add a little BigTreeTech Wi-Fi module to add Wi-Fi to your printer. There's a port for filament runout sensor. There's a port to be able to add and control neopixels on your printer for like crazy RGB LEDs. There's a port for automatic shutoff, and then there's two additional ports that are basically DIY ports that you can use to add your own hacks and mods to the screen or to your printer. And the beautiful thing about this screen is that, like much of BigTreeTech's catalog, it's actually open source, and all of the firmware, the pinout, all the things that you're going to need are available and can be downloaded and modified over at BigTreeTech's GitHub, which is awesome. So with the addition of a compatible mainboard and this LCD screen, you are able to switch between two modes. There's Marlin mode, which is going to be the exact same user interface that you're typically used to with maybe just a different color tone, and you've got the RGB scroll wheel. And if you hold down the scroll wheel, you can actually switch over to touch mode, which is the feature-rich, awesome touchscreen user interface mode that this screen has, because out of the box, it's basically baked with two firmwares built into this one LCD screen. There really are almost too many features to cover that this side of the LCD screen has, but for some of them, the main screen's UI is awesome. There's a lot of data there from the hot end's temperature, the heater bed's temperature, the current fan speed, the current print speed, any information that the printer is outputting back to you. And it's really easy to preheat your printer basically from that home screen. If you click the hot end, you can manually jog it, you can preheat it to something, you can quickly disable it. It makes it really easy to have full control over and again, quickly heat up your hot end or your bed, or both of those two things if that's something you decide you want to do before starting up a print. One awesome feature about this LCD screen is that it has a built-in G-code editor. So what that means is if you are doing some troubleshooting or you need to manually send over some G-code, if you did an upgrade or you're trying to figure out what's going on with your BL Touch or whatever the need is, instead of having to plug your computer or plug your printer into a computer and hook it up to a terminal like Pronterface, you can actually manually send G-code from the screen to the printer as if it is a standalone controller, which is a pretty awesome functionality. You've got full control over all of the fonts, all of the colors, the lighting, the RGB of the knob, as well as a bunch of other kind of random features, such as things like inverting the axis, slowing the travel speed just from the LCD screen itself, turning on and off a filament runout sensor, as well as quite a bit of other things. It has also a very nice baby stepping of the Z offset. So if you are starting a print and you notice that your nozzle is a bit too far or too close, then you can actually just tap the up or down on the print screen for the Z steps, and you can baby step up the nozzle to make sure that you get that perfect first layer. And yeah, that is a really nice feature that this screen has. So aside from all those features, what about those that just want a nice touchscreen? They don't necessarily care about all the additional features, but they just want a touchscreen, bigger screen, nicer way to interact with their printer. Well, at $45 for the TFT50 version, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. To me, that is a very fair price for such a high quality screen. And I'm also happy to report that the screen is very bright, the text is very vivid, and it is incredibly responsive to touch. I didn't have any issues with trying to get it to recognize my finger or accidentally clicking the wrong things. The buttons are big and bright, and again, it is very easy to navigate. One other cool thing is that you can control the brightness of the backlight, so from 10% or 0% to 100% in increments of 10. So that way, if you're printing something and maybe you're gonna go to sleep or whatever, you can turn the backlight down to 0%, so that way it doesn't have a bright light that's illuminating your workspace or your room. One awesome thing is that BigTreeTech also did release STL models for Creality Ender 3 printers. So if you have a Creality Ender 3 or Ender 3 Pro and you want to purchase the 4350 or 70, there's already STLs out there that you can just go over to Thingiverse, download, print out, and mount your screen, which is exactly what I did for the TFT50 screen that I have. Now, I did print mine in PETG, and after printing it in PETG, it seems like it's a bit too flexible, so I need something more rigid. So I'm likely gonna reprint it in either a nice PLA, or I might even try resin printing it, because I've got some really cool big resin printers and a lot of resin, so I might just do a nice clean print out of resin to replace that. But the STLs are available, and if you for some reason don't have a Creality Ender 3 and you want to be able to model your own mount and you don't want to do it from the ground up, well, they do also provide the .step or step files, and so that way you can take their models and import it into your CAD software and very easily modify it to fit whatever it is that your printer is, so that way you can mount it onto there as well. With the addition of the SKR Mini E3 version 1.2 that I did a few months ago, and now this screen, I would say that my Creality Ender 3 is pretty much maxed out, and I do still stand by what I've always said, that the Creality Ender 3 for its price is a very capable machine even out of the box, and you certainly don't have to do all of these mods, but for someone that's looking to take their machine to the next level or just really wants to upgrade their printer, which believe me, like for me, upgrading the printer is almost half of the fun. I love just customizing it, adding additional features and functionality. Well, these lines of screens, along with the boards that they have recently released, which gives you 32-bit Marlin 2.0 and silent drivers for like under 40 bucks or around that price point, is absolutely insane. So if you want to find out more again about the TFT 4350 or 70, links will be down below to where you can find out more or purchase one for yourself. And if there's any specific questions I didn't answer in this video, please let me know as well in the comments down below. If I don't know the answer, then I have no problem reaching out to BigTreeTech directly and getting you that answer. future. On that note, I hope you guys are all doing well. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more great videos. I've done a video every single Saturday of this whole year, so there is a ton of new fresh content coming your way. If you want to support the channel more so, also links will be down below to my Patreon, where there is some really cool rewards, and I am super thankful for all of my supporters that allow me to spend more time doing what I love, which is making content for you guys. And on that note, this has been Daniel from ModBot. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace, guys.